I made it pretty far, all things considered. Thanks for your applause. Still every time I close the door and another won't open, I get this panic that my life is now on pause. The docket's cleared, the board's been cleaned, there's nothing left on my screen. The plate is empty, so it seems. Now is the time to ask, okay, what's next? This was fun while it lasted, nothing comes till you ask it. So I'd really like to know what's next. Around the corner, down the street, whatever's meant for me to meet, I'm waiting for it anxiously, so tell me please, what's next? Daunting, thanks I know. Silently it's haunting me and I'd like it to go. See, I could be 103 and still moving slow, full of promise and potential till my eyes finally close. But I got time, got years and years, work to do, but I got fears. And there's a ringing in my ears, so still I gotta ask, okay, what's next? This was fun while it lasted, nothing comes till you ask it. So I'd really like to know what's next. Around the corner, down the street, whatever's meant for me to meet, I'm waiting for it anxiously, so tell me please, what's next?
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you be in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Metaphysical Meetup with Mark. I am your host, Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest of Seattle, Washington. I thought I'd come on just real quick for what will be our last Friday in 2023 and kind of give you some perspective of what's coming up for 2024, which is the year of the eight, which is all about abundance. It's all about manifesting, and we'll get into some of the numerology for that and just some of the things that I'm seeing. I do want to just give a big shout out to a few people here. First and foremost, good morning to Miss Cree. Hello, Denise. Hi, Christina, one of my Patreon prospectors. Good morning. Denise saying, good morning, Mark. Wishing you a very prosperous and happy new year. Same to you, my friend. Same to you. Same with you, Carolyn. Hope you had a great Christmas holiday season. I always like to say happy holidays because at the start of November, there's 20 different major holidays. So that's why I always say happy holidays. We say Merry Christmas here in the United States, but that doesn't apply to everywhere in the world. But hopefully you had a good holiday season. Good morning to Valerie. Good to see you here. And this morning we're going to be just doing a little bit of forecasting, a little bit of planning, and a little bit of predictions for what I see coming just around the corner, just in a few days here. I updated my calendar, but it looks like I put February up versus January. So I got a beautiful new calendar from the Bouchard Gardens up when we went to Victoria last year. I got a calendar for this year. So if you've ever been up to Victoria and visited those gardens, it's a beautiful place. Highly recommend. And it was, I guess I'm just ahead of wanting to get to February, I guess. And I guess that makes sense for the fact that I always, for many, many years, I used to hate January. January, for some of you that know that follow my work and my journey of even how I began to do all this, both my brothers passed in January 5th and January 23rd. And so that month for many, many years, I always said if I could get through January, I could get through the rest of the year. Not knowing years later and working through some, having some counseling and doing some transformational healing, that I actually lived with survivor's guilt. That was definitely something that I didn't know was a real deal. I'm the last. There's three of us brothers, and I'm the last of the brothers, the middle brother, I guess you can say. And so I didn't know for years that I lived with this thing called survivor's guilt, which is a real thing. So now I'm not that way anymore. So it's funny that my calendar, maybe I just unconsciously bypassed January to put up February on my calendar. But this is the last Metaphysical Meetup on Friday. This is the last Friday before we kick into the new year. Thanks for following the journey and hanging out with me on these Fridays. We try to be here. I say we because I have an amazing team of volunteers that helps monitor the comments and share out the page. And I've been gone a few weeks. I usually take the month of December off from many of my spiritual practices to learn, to write, to read, to rejuvenate, to reflect, to revive. I was able to make it to one of my favorite places to go visit in the world. We call it Hogwarts here in the United States. In England, it's called the Arthur Findlay College, and I was able to spend a very intense week learning different modalities, different concepts, things based on healing, based on mediumship, based on psychic, based on spiritualism, based on intuition, based on just a lot of different things. We talked about, the whole week was just packed with all sorts of different subjects. And by the week's end, I was pretty damn tired, to be honest with you. Just able to get back here in the United States, which I felt a little uncomfortable going outside the United States based on what's going on in the world, and that could change at any moment based with all the chaos, from the wars that are taking place to the uncertainties and the tensions that are rising. Just kind of keeping a pulse on that. So I'm like, gosh, I hope nothing serious happens. And of course, I'm out of country watching Leave the World Behind, right, on Netflix. So I don't know if you've watched that. If you have, you know that you have, because you either love it or you hate it. I recommend not watching it with severe jet lag, which I did. And then I went back and watched it after I got back, and completely different perspective now. It's very, the reality of it is just mind blowing and eye opening, I guess I should say. So, yeah, so I'm glad that I'm back in the country, but I haven't been on for a couple of weeks because I've been traveling and learning and taking time off in December, as I always do every single year. But I figured I'd just jump on and just see how everybody's doing, say hi to some of the followers, say hi to some of the Patreon prospectors. We've got a new Patreon prospector, and I want to, her name is Chris, and I want to give her a shout out. Or I don't know if she's on or not, but part of being on my Patreon prospectors is you get shout outs and you get special readings with me every month. Same with Christina, who's one of my Patreon prospectors. So just giving you some shout outs. We will be doing some readings in January for you guys that follow either the subscribers page here on Facebook or my YouTube channel or my Patreon prospectors. Everything you can find is right here, the website. I'm working on the updates, the new online store that I have. I can get my new book there, Between Worlds Reflections, that's now published on Amazon, and a few other things. Links to follow me for my latest meditations, my Soundbaths, but just go to marklainhart.com if you're interested in that. And if not, no worries. Thanks for just hanging out and stopping by. So good morning to, let's see here. Kimberly Ann, you made it. Good morning. You did. You finally made it. One of my subscribers. And there's a new badge by your name, Kimberly. Let's see what that is. 11-month subscriber. So what's cool is I look for badges. So if you're a subscriber to the Intuitive Prospector subscribers page, which you can go on Facebook and go up, it's $4.99 a month. It's literally less than a good cup of coffee, if you will. But now you get it looks like a heart, and it says 11-month subscriber exclusive badge by purchasing the monthly subscription. So way to go, Kimberly. Kimberly Ann, way to be call that out. So it's a green badge with a heart, which means that you're a subscriber. So that's new to Facebook since I have taken the month off. Miss C says, yes, it's been a while. It has. Hey, Jane, big shout out to Jane. You know what, Jane, I haven't forgot about you. I was just trying to get everything updated real quick with Zoom. But next year, I will have the Brilliant Cup that you purchased and gave to me. So Jane we were able to meet, Jane's one of my students in my development group, and I've only ever known her online. We've never met in person, but she was kind enough to drive down and pick me up at Heathrow, take me up to the college. I was able to show her around and give her some insight to what the Arthur Findlay College is, for those of you that are on an intuitive spiritual healing path like myself. And she brought me the coolest coffee cup, which I will debut next week. It was just kind of not even thinking about, because I didn't think I was going to come on today. And last night I was like, no, I'll come on. Just kind of wrap up the year, finish the year, maybe do a little meditation, a little healing, talk about what I see coming for 2024. So shout out to you, Jane, for picking me up, saving me that bus ride or train ride up to Hogwarts. And I'll debut your coffee cup next week when I'm in the right mindset and all ready to go. But it was so great to finally meet you in person. We hung out, had a couple pints, and then she had to make her trek back to Wales. But it was really nice to finally make contact and see somebody that I've been learning with the last few years in person. So big shout out to you, Jane. Miss C says, my brother passed in July this year. I think it was a drug overdose, and I'm the last surviving member of my childhood family now. Dad, mom, brother, all gone. Well, as you know, Miss C, they're not gone. They're just in a different way. It's sad. It's hard for me, and my condolences on the passing of your brother, of course. And I know what it's like to lose. I even recently got tattooed up. You can't see it here, but I have the Tree of Life now that covers most of my chest right here. And if you know the Tree of Life, I'm a big fan of the Tree of Life. It kind of looks like that. It's got the sun and the moon. It's a little bit different. The sun's on one side and it's covered by the crest of the moon on the other. But going over my shoulder are a bunch of crows, which are messengers of the spirit world. And I'm surrounded by crows here in West Seattle. But they represent the amount of people, my friends, my fur babies, my brothers, my dad, my uncles, my cousins, friends, everybody that has been a part of my journey. I've now tattooed onto the transition. So again, it's a reminder that they've transitioned over, but they're not gone. So I would recommend not to use that language gone, because when you say dead, death, gone, that means that you'll never see them again, or you won't have any experiences with them. I find that to be completely the opposite. When you look for the patterns, when you look for the signs, the symbols, the synergy, the synchronicities, and the language that you may not be used to, you realize that it is a vibration, is a world within a world. And we talked about this exclusively at the college when I was there, and I brought up a lot of questions. The tutors probably hated me by the week's end, but I'm very curious, and that's why I'm the intuitive prospector. I'm always searching and exploring and discovering, and I've learned that through physical death, their mannerisms, their love, their consciousness, their energy moves just to a different vibration, a different frequency. And if you realize from a scientific standpoint how blind we are and how deaf we are, we don't really see what's going on. And just because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not here. So look for your brothers, look for your family members, because I always say they're only just ever a thought away. And it's not something, as you know, Miss C, it's not something that I always subscribed to and believed to until I went through my own traumas and tragedies, the TNT that, you know, blew my life up at the age of 27. So, but it's hard during the holidays, right? I get that. And, it's just a reminder, it's just a reminder too, don't wait for special moments. It being in the present moment, this is the special moment. So celebrate, carpe diem, as I always say, find that diamond within and celebrate life in the present moment, because that's where the true power lies. I just got my other tattoo is right here, my latest tattoo. This represents, this is Sanskrit, and this is one of the oldest symboled languages known in existence to mankind. And it represents breath, the breath in, the breath out, and the journey that's in between. So it's a reminder just to get in the present moment, take that sacred breath, and appreciate that this is all you have right now, the present moment. Future's not guaranteed, and we can't go back and change the past. So, but it is tough, and I just want to just say my condolences to you. Hi, Callis. Hi, Amy Mann. Callis Chandra. Christina Lynn said, I saw that movie. It's pretty intense. I'm thinking twice about wanting a Tesla. I know, right? The self-driving cars. So Christina is talking about Leave the World Behind. There's a ton of Easter eggs, a lot of, if it was to go down with a cyber attack in the United States, this is very real. And I had to watch it again. It was kind of like watching The Matrix for the first time. It was kind of like watching Fight Club for the first time. It was kind of like watching Pulp Fiction for the first time. 3 movies that when I walked out, just scratched my head going, what the hell? Then go back and watch it a second time and look for all the Easter eggs. Like around me, you see there's a lot of Easter eggs, from the symbology to the drum, to the cards, to the prospector dish. It's got messages in it, to the posters, to my Christmas lights are up. The movie has all the shirts that they're wearing, the messages throughout the movie. So go back and watch it a second time, and you'll see a lot of different messages. Now, not to get political, because we don't get political here on Metaphysical Meetup with Marc, but I was interested to learn that the Obamas were the executive producers. After the credits came up, it said executive producer, Barack and Michelle Obama. And I was like, what? Why is a president an executive producer on a film? And I just remember back just from, historical and legislative, that he was very big on cyber attacks and pulses that would take out our grids, threw a lot of money at it under his administration. So it's just interesting, like, is this a scenario that the Pentagon has known and planned for? And obviously it's confidential or top secret information, so he can't share it exactly, but to have a former president put his name on this was very interesting to me. Some would call it the conspiracy theorist. I don't know. It's just interesting that, I always say, does art imitate life, or does life imitate art? God, I hope not, because it's just but it's also a look. The movie is a look at the generational gaps. Pay attention to the young girl Rose, and all she cares about, the world's ending, and all she cares about is watching the last episodes of Friends, right? So it's like the difference isn't just the generations and the ties to technology, which, if you followed my journey in my shows or my podcast or these shows, when I started talking about this in late 2019, I said, get ready for the Roaring 20s, which are going to be a transformational decade. It's going to be a renaissance to where we learn more in the next 30 years than we will the next 300 years. And we're going to talk about that here in just a second. And then I may do some readings to finish out the year, and maybe a meditation or healing, because a Metaphysical Meetup with Marc there's no agenda. If you join me on this community on Fridays, it's here just to talk about the metaphysical journey, the spiritual journey, the life journey, the differences of what's going on in our world. And there's a lot of uncertainty and chaos right now. So grab your coffee, grab your tea. And like I said, next week, Jane and I will have that special coffee cup that you got me. It is a very cool coffee cup. So you can probably take a guess it has something to do with Star Wars. But, there's just a lot going on in our world. In 2024, as we make the transition, we're not halfway through our Roaring 20s. And like I said, there was going to be a lot of things that happened during this decade of Roaring 20s, including little green men. This is one of my favorite T-shirts. Bigfoot and extra dimensional beings hanging out in a portal. Because I do believe that we're moving from a 3-dimensional construct that we're becoming aware through science, through technology, through intuition, through meditation. We're starting to see and become aware of this fourth dimensional construct. If you don't know what that means, I don't have time to break it down in layman's terms. But again, if you just think in terms of, you know, one dimensional, two dimensional, three dimensional, going all the way up to 11 to 12 dimensions, it's our frequency is changing. It's kind of like tuning into different frequencies. And science, you know, I just spent, you know, a week in England learning about this. Science, as of right now, there's only about 4% of science that's been mathematically proven to be true. Everything outside of that, which means there's 96% of the scientific world that is either, you know, theory or hypothesis or an opinion, but it's not fact supported by math. And so when you realize that there's a lot that we have not learned in our roaring 20s, that just shows you just how much more stuff is going to be coming out. And we'll talk about that here in just a second, the year of the eight, because the year of the eight, which I know from a numerology standpoint, here's my eight right here. If you turn it sideways, it becomes the infinity, the journey, the adventure, the soul adventure is what I like to call it. And there's going to be a lot more that comes out. Including realizing that I've said that we would learn that we're not alone in the universe. Now, that doesn't mean that a spaceship's going to land over the White House and like in the Hollywood movies, but there's just so much we don't know about our planet, our oceans, deep down underground, the continent of Antarctica. You know, podcasts that I've done throughout the last few years talking about this, in the fact that there's just a lot of exploration and prospecting that we still need to do, that we will uncover new ways of thinking, new ways of being, transformation. And that's not going to be easy for everybody. Everybody, you know, some people like status quo and just like to stay in their lanes. And you're seeing the build up to everything that's coming. So that's our roaring 20s. And again, that's a renaissance. And if you go back throughout history, I'm a big student of history, as you can tell. These are memoirs and autobiographies of people in the past that I've read. You realize that after a global pandemic throughout history, great transformation takes place after a global pandemic. And what did we have just a year ago as we started to wrap up this pandemic that killed millions of people all around the globe? So it just seems to be par for the course, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, great movie. Thanks for bringing that up, Christina Lynn. Leave the World Behind. But it's an interesting show. And again, is art imitating life or is life imitating art? Kimberly Ann says, I purchased stars, but I can't access them to send them to you. Oh, interesting. I don't know how that works. Usually you just click on hit the stars. So I apologize. I'm not sure. I'll try to figure that out for you, but Kimberly Ann. But thank you for the thought. I appreciate it. Hi, Malia. How are you? Malia Perry's on. Alina Flores, good morning to you. Good to see you. I've been having problems with that too. Yeah, y'all, I'm not sure. I do apologize. That's something that, you know, obviously Facebook runs with the stars, but in the past, I have received stars payout. It's just digital content. Let me go over to Facebook real quick and usually it says there's a thing that pops up on my Facebook page. But just let me look real quick to see what's going on here. We get over to the Intuitive Prospector page. And again, thank you for sharing out the video. Thanks for being a subscriber, following the work. There's going to be more coming up in 2024. I'm having to make some big transformations in my life with my career and some things that are coming to an end and new beginnings. So we will be back on the air for our 8th season of Inspired Living, which has been voted a best inspirational podcast to listen to and to follow. If you're looking for inspirational shows and positive living and inspired living and concepts of that. So let me get over, let me just put some comments in here, paste. So what I did is I put some links in the comment section, and yeah, it does say, hi, Suzanne. Yeah, I'm not sure. It may be something to do with Zoom. Don't worry about the stars. Not a big deal. It's just happy to hang out with y'all, and I'll get that figured out by next week when we come on and we're doing these shows more consistently. So we'll figure out the stars. So again, thanks for being here. This is Metaphysical Meetup with Marc. My name is Marc Lainhart. I go by the Intuitive Prospector because I've always been curious since birth. About the many mysteries in our world, the many diamonds, the many gems that are all around us. And each and every week, I try to explore, discover dream, search through mind, body, spirit on all the different things and things that are known and things that are not known. So if you want to join me in 2024, the year of the 8, I hope that you will. And we'll continue the prospecting journey, including podcasts, books. My latest book is out somewhere. Actually, I don't even have it to even. I can't even plug my own book. But if you go to marklainhart.com, you can get the new book called Between Worlds Reflection. It's I'm a contributing author to the book where I really just talked about how I got to this point of what I do and how I help people in the healing and the transformations and finding that diamond within. So it's a concept that's been born over probably the last decade, and something that I'm more comfortable now being out in the public, and is, it's impacted my relationships and journey, of course, because we're humans. But as Buddha said, you gotta let that shit go, right? So so I'll figure out the stars, but thanks for pointing that out, and I just appreciate you thinking of. Jane says it was a great meeting you too. Yep. Hi Debbie Jones, Deb McAdams. Good morning. Good afternoon. I'm hoping to come over to Victoria next year. Well, let's see if you do. Love Victoria. It's a beautiful area. Let me know. I'm just down the way. Couple hours. Maybe we can meet up and do some lunch or have some tea in the Bouchard Gardens. Amy Mann says hello. Hi Amy, how are you? You're welcome. Hi Kara. Deanna, good morning. Good to see you. Christina says, yeah, taking back that the Obamas were executive producer. Maybe they know something. I was told being executive producer maybe means they financed it. Yeah, they financed it, but I'm sure there was some influence. But it was just interesting, right? Because you don't see former presidents usually signing off or putting money to a movie, especially a movie of that nature. Again, I was watching it the first time with pretty heavy jet lag, and it just ended. And I'll just give you, I'm not going to give the ending, but I'll just tell you, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. It's written off the book, so the movie is not. The book was turned into a movie, which there's always that. Does it transition? Good book, horrible movie, kind of thing. But yeah, I was there. I went back and watched it a second time, and I'm just fascinated with the concept, the psychology of it, the generational, and all the Easter eggs. Look for all the Easter eggs, messages that are hidden in the wallpaper, in their T-shirts, or their bed. I mean, it's wow. So it's pretty interesting. So Suzanne, hello to you. John Lackey, good morning. How are you? All right, Michelle, good morning to you. Happy holidays. Oh, Christine's saying hi, Mama. Who's Mama? Is that must be Suzanne? Hi, Mama. All right, absolutely. A sure meeting is long overdue. Yes, I agree. So, all right, so let's do some chatting. Let's do some talking about what I see now. Remember, when I do this is not for financial gains. This is not for, this is for entertainment. Sometimes I have to read my disclaimer for when I'm doing predictions or forecasting or planning. So, this isn't anything to medically, legally, financially, but there are some things that are coming up in the year of the 8th that I think that we should, be aware of. Now, when we talk about the 8 is all about here. Sorry here, I'm getting my bullet points up here. Type it up here. All right. All right. So one of the things that I follow in the tools I have, I like to look at things from a numerology standpoint. And the reason that I like numerology, and this isn't for everybody, I know, but the reason I love numerology, which is funny because I didn't really like math growing up in high school. I was a horrible student, to be honest with you. Barely graduated. I think I graduated with like a 2.4, 2.5, which is a C average, because I just didn't take education and learning seriously. I was more into women and sports and in myself, to be honest with you. And then I got to college and I started to take it a little bit more seriously because I was paying for it, right? So I ended up, graduating with about a 3.5 and a little bit more seriousness on my education. But one of the things that I started to really become fascinated with was mathematics. Now, mathematics is the cousin to music, right? Pythagorean, if you follow history, Pythagorean talked about music in mathematics or numerology, the lucky number 7, his favorite number. And we just are finishing up the year of the 7. So 2023 is the year of the 7, which has all been about truth. A lot of truths have come out. Maybe it's a truth in your life, the truth in society, the things that we're seeing. In fact, there's it's going to be interesting to watch on January 1st. This Epstein list is coming out. So there's going to be some truths there, and I'm sure that's making some very high influential people very nervous. So these are just examples of truths that have come out. Our political system, our political parties, governments, everything has been hard to witness some of these truths. But as we move from 2023 into 2024, and how you add this up, you just take all the numbers of 2023, that adds up to a double-digit number usually, or it'll add up to the number. So in this case, it adds up directly to 7. And then we're going to move into 2024, which if you add those numbers up, it's going to equal the 8. And the 8 is representation of abundance, manifesting, business-minded leader. And it's a chart. It's one of the tools that I use when I'm doing a reading or a consultation with somebody. And it's also my number. So this is either going to be a really great year for me or a really shitty year for me, like it was in 2015. I thought the same thing, and I ended up breaking a piece of my back vertebrae off, and I had to be in rehab for 9 months. So what it taught me was your health is your true wealth, and the appreciation for my health. And it's interesting because here I am again, still battling with some health conditions, and it's hard to recover when you've broken your back twice, but you still keep moving forward. And some things that are going to have to happen with my career as I wind down my federal career after 23 years, and been called to do more of this. So stay tuned for more podcasts, more books, more writings, more workshops, more shows, that kind of thing. But when we dive from, as we make the shift from the 7, I was looking at the 8 and kind of some of the things to think about from the 8 of what's happening in this year and what we're going to be dealing with. Let's see here. So some of the things is what I like to do is I like to tune in. I think that there's going to still be great transformations. I think with the election coming around the corner, because people ask me, I don't really get into politics anymore as an independent voter. But I think we're going to see something we haven't seen before historically. I think there's going to be a precedent, whether constitutional or rule of law, that's really going to be the first time we've ever seen this presidential election, because the world's watching. And how do I know the world's watching? Because when I was out of country, I sat at a table with people from all around Europe, and they kept asking me, what do you think? What do you think? And I'd say, hold on, buckle up. It's our roaring 20s. We're going to continue to see great transformations, and we're going to still see the ugliness of humanity, but we're also see, the greatness of what humanity can be. And that's also, something I've talked about in 2019 when I started to talk about the roaring 20s, which would include war, which would include either a revolution or a breakdown in systems and institutions, or even a civil war. But I also saw this great coming together where people, would be conscious enough and hopefully evolved enough to say, we don't want to continue to repeat the history, the past history of our journey as, low vibration, ignorant thinking, violent behavior, and really start to move to something. And maybe that's, going to be some of the breakthroughs that happen with us as a planet, us as a species. But what happens with the number 8? The number 8, some of the things to the life lessons in the charts that I looked up was to balance the material and the spiritual worlds. And we're seeing a lot of that based on the quantum computer is out now. AI is generated. We're going to see, which is a quantum way of thinking, which is a 4th dimensional construct that we're starting to move into, and realize that there's a lot of things that we just don't know. Like I said, for about 4% of science is actually proven, which means 96% is still based on opinion, hypothesis, theory, but not proven or supported by mathematics, right? And that's how you usually prove something, scientific method or mathematical equations that actually, solve some of the biggest mysteries in our journey, right? One of the other life lessons for the 8 energy as it comes in is to recognize the illusionary nature of the material world, to adopt an attitude of abundance in the year of the 8, to reclaim your personal power, that 8 energy, if you will. to temper power with respect. And I think we'll see a lot of that part in society, to be honest with you. To lead alongside others. The 8 energy, if you notice, there really is 2 circles connected together. This is about leading alongside others. And I think we'll need to see some of that in society, because over the last few years, society, especially here in the United States and other places, not just to be fair, societies are divided very much so. And when we realize that we have more in common connected, that we just sit at a different part of the table with a different perspective, at times we can just agree to disagree. But I think social media has driven a lot of misinformation, cognitive dissonance, conscious biases, has promoted things as misogyny, fascism, racism, and hopefully AI will start to be a tool that can clean up a lot of this information that's streaming through the social media. I really try to use today social media platforms for positivity. Do I get it all right at times? No, but I really try to research or source my information if I'm going to share it. And I usually share positive, inspirational stuff anyway. I don't get caught up in the politics. I used to. I don't anymore. But just trying to bring people together in community and healing, because I think a lot of us are looking for that. And we've been through a lot the last 5 years with this pandemic and this global divide and a fight for rights and justices that we're going to continue to see. But it's also to become aware of a higher purpose. In the year of the 8, it's about becoming aware. Awareness is the greatest agent for change, is to become aware of our higher purpose. And a lot of times the only way to understand that higher purpose is to go through pain, to go through trauma, to go through loss. That's where the soul grows. And we're unfortunately going to see some of that in 2024 in the year of the 8, which will continue with, those negative things that I was talking about. But it's going to help us push through to become aware and make a change and transformation to a higher way of thinking. To live with honesty, integrity is part of the 8 energy, if you will. So I'm a life path 8. It's something that I follow very much so. It's people that are of the 8 energy usually have a business-minded format, business-minded leaders, which I run. I have 2 companies that I run, so that would fit right in line with what I do as a spiritual entrepreneur and as a CPR first aid instructor. Being business-minded leader and getting ready to make a change in my. I've been working for the federal government for 23 years now and making some changes there, much needed changes. So some of the 8 is the law of cause and effect. The 8 energy usually is around pioneering, self-motivated, tenacious, driven, strong, fair, hardworking, organized, authoritative. That's the type of energy that the energy of the 8 is going to bring forward, is to manifest and to have some abundance, a lot of abundance actually. It's really, so this, if you've been thinking about doing something, starting a new business, a different job, a different relationship, a different maybe house, different state, this would be the year to do that. This would be the time to manifest and move into that abundance. Now that can be scary for a lot of you, because again, you know my mantra: if you don't risk it, there's no biscuit. You'll never learn to fly if you don't leave the nest. But here is a chance to opportunity to align with the universal energy of numerology, which is about as far back as I've been able to research, it's about 11,000 years old as far as when numerology, the flow and patterns of numbers in our reality and in our life and in our time, right? Because time is linear, right? It's not a straight line. Things repeat and patterns happen, and so that's why I've been fascinated with numerology. Now, not everybody is going to believe that, which is fine, because until it happens to you, it's really hard to believe what somebody else is saying. But I can tell you that there's a pattern, and the 8 is going to be a power number of manifesting abundance and great transformation. So I don't try to get up with my predictions and forecasting. I really try to steer away from, the doom and gloom and the fear mongering, and that, that obviously sells in today's society. There's gonna be all of that. That's just part of, human nature and humankind's journey to evolve. But I do see some things that are going to really, from an AI standpoint, from a quantum computing standpoint, there are some things that I do see that will start to, transform us. If I get my list to open here, maybe I'm not supposed to open my list. So, so we're going to see the Summer Olympics in Paris, France. So watch for that. I think you're going to see some pretty amazing things come out of the Summer Olympics. And I can't remember the last time it was in Paris, but maybe during right before 36, was that in Paris? Somebody know your history? No, that was Berlin, I think. So, like I said, we're going to see this presidential election determine who the next leader of the pretty much the free world, because everybody was asking me when I was out of country. I foresee, I don't see it being the normal election process. I think there's going to be something left field based on the Constitution, based on the rule of law, even a third party that would come out, because people don't want this. Again, this is an example of awareness to change of the status quo. People are tired with a two-party system, and the people that are running them. I'm not going to speak for or against either one of them, but it's, we're going to see some great divide and misinformation and disinformation and cognitive dissonance in this whole election cycle. I'm not really looking forward to it, and so that's why I don't turn on the media much anymore. I know that the space agency is going to launch the Jupiter Ice Moons Explorer. It's called the JUICE mission, and it's going to explore Jupiter's moons, which is going to be interesting because there's always been theories that either Saturn's moon or Jupiter's moons contain life, which would then tie into what I've been saying about learning that we're not alone in this universe that's mathematically incomprehensible, and that there is life out there, whether it's through this new exploration, the JUICE mission, or the James Webb Telescope, or the Kepler, the Hubble. I mean, we got a lot of eyes out there looking at a lot of open space, and so it's just a matter of time. We're going to see the World Cup held in Qatar, which will be interesting. There's going to be a solar eclipse that's going to happen in 2024 that'll be impacted in parts of North America. So if you're into eclipse, you might want to look that up, because you'll actually, last time, gosh, it happened here. I was able to see it, the eclipse, and it was actually pretty cool. I want to say it's been a while ago. Maybe 2015 is when the last one happened. Let's see here. We got the Tour de France. There's a lot of things going on. The Hubble Space Telescope is expected to be decommissioned and replaced by the James Webb Telescope, which is very fascinating. Let's see here. Just we're looking at some of my notes. Let's see here. My other notes here. So sometimes I write these down in my meditations, or maybe I have a dream about it, and so I try to write it down, and then I have voice notes too on my phone, so that's what I'm trying to grab. Should I open that file when I had it, but I totally closed it. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Bear with me. My phone, sometimes I have to unplug it because it has a mind of its own. So grab a cup of coffee. All right. Okay, so some of the things that that I see coming, I finally was able to get the list. Artificial intelligence will become even more integrated. So that's one of the things that I've been looking at. Like I said, the quantum computer by IBM is officially manifested. It's working with the Cleveland Clinic. And if you don't know much about quantum, you've maybe heard about it. Quantum computing is going to be able to pull information at a faster speed. And it's going to really answer some of the big questions of science in physics and technology. And so, keep an eye on quantum computing. 60 Minutes just ran a story. It was very fascinating because it's here. It is actually, it is a thing. Kind of like the internet. Before the internet was the internet, back in the late 90s, quantum computing is going to be that next step, which is also going to incorporate artificial intelligence. with, we're going to have personal assistants. So you're going to have these what are called powered assistants, and smart devices really becoming commonplace in society. So it's going to move pretty quick. Transformation usually is not slow. It usually happens, and then we kind of catch up. It's a knee-jerk reaction. I think that Christina, you were talking about the Tesla cars. I think the electric and autonomous vehicles will continue to gain popularity. We'll see the grid. We had even talked about buying one before we got our Lincoln, but I just wasn't happy with where the grid is, right? I didn't want to drive from here to Spokane and have to stop in Owensburg and wait 45 minutes to charge in my electric vehicle. So the grid's not there, but it's coming. It's moving quicker now than it was the last 3 to 4 years. So I do see that there will be an adoption to sustainable transportation solutions. Some of the things that are taking place with that. I did see that Abu Dhabi in Dubai is their police officers are actually going to be on hover motorcycles, which is a very sci-fi kind of concept. So we're seeing more of the flying cars, these motorcycles that actually had big blades on them that the police were going to be trained on, and they'll be flying around. So you won't be able to get away with, crime is going to go down because you won't be able to get it away from these flying bikes. They're bikes. Just think of a drone, but it's a bike, and you'll be able to get in and out of traffic and all that. I think that what I see for the 2024 predictions and forecasting is, that renewable energy source, that we've talked about, solar and wind, and using the energy of the ocean is going to continue to have significant growth, leading to a decrease in the reliance of fossil fuels. I've been seeing that and monitoring that. So if you're interested in following certain stocks, if you're an investor like me, you'll want to look at, one of the companies I first invested years ago was called First Solar, and I'm glad that I did, right? Because I do see that the energy of just the ocean, the movement of the ocean is a new technology they're looking at. These are going to be types as our weather increases and gets more violent. We're going to have to come up with ways, because we're leaving a footprint as humans on the planet, and that's something that we're going to have to really start thinking about. I think the virtual reality and the augmented reality of technologies will continue to revolutionize the gaming industry, the entertainment industry, our educational system, and our healthcare. So again, virtual reality, AI, quantum computing, these are all going to be part of this year that you're going to continuously hear more and more about. I think that people have asked me for a while, Mark, what do you think of the global economy? I follow patterns, and I'm not seeing, I watch a lot of, the financial pundits. For a long time, everybody's like, oh, there's a huge recession coming. I was like, I don't see that pattern, and a recession hasn't happened. So I actually see from my perspective is the global economy will continue to recover and experience steady growth, especially after the challenges that it caused with COVID-19 pandemic that shut the world down. We haven't seen that in over 100 years, right? So there's always going to be a reaction, an action, a reaction, and then but I actually see good global growth in an economy. I don't see the collapse that some people talk about. One of the things that's really come up in my forecasting for this year is the space tourism will become more accessible. There's going to be companies offering trips like Blue Origin, taking you up. Shatner just went up and said it was one of the most amazing things he's ever witnessed. You don't go actually into space. You go right on the edge of space, and then you're about 3 minutes where you're floating, and then you come back down. But we're going to push those limits to actually go into space. I'm thinking of the hotel from 2001: A Space Odyssey. That's not too far off, to be honest with you. I think that especially for those adventurous people, there's going to be more of pushing up without having to go through NASA, and there will be more private corporations that's going to take us to space. The blockchain technology, this digital, is going to be interesting to watch. Bitcoin, right? Litecoin. I'm invested in it. I watch it. For a few times, I wasn't sure it would take and not take, but I think, as I looked through it, I think that the use of blockchain technology will increase, and it's going to continue to transform industries like finance, supply chain management, and healthcare. And you can already kind of use it a little bit if you have, a blockchain like Coinbase or CoinPurse, and you can, transform that. But I don't know enough about it to speak about it as an expert. I just know that it's going to continue to grow. And if you think about it, I don't use a lot of cash as it is. I Venmo, I credit card. When somebody asks me, especially being in Seattle, there's a lot of homelessness here. Hey, do you have any money? I'm sorry. Eventually, I'll start. I bet you'll start to see the homeless people say, "Well, I take Venmo now, or I can take a credit card." It's just one of those things that we're becoming more and more of a cashless system. And I think that the digital currency, the blockchains, that technology behind that, the Bitcoin, will continue to grow in popularity in 2024. I think that advances in medical research and technology will lead to breakthroughs in treatment like the diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's. I do believe, I personally believe that there are certain cures to cancers. But again, in order to have a healthcare profitable system, you have to have sick people. I know that's horrible to say, but I've been in healthcare for over 25 years. I've seen the ins and outs, from the good and the bad and everything in between. And we're made for profit. That's why we pay insurance companies when we as taxpayers should have universal health care, because we're already paying our taxes. So we're being double taxed, right? So I personally believe that there are cures already out there for cancer, but our government is on record quoting saying when they cured polio, literally in over 2 weeks, the entire polio industry that supports all that collapsed. And they said that, quote unquote, they would never do that again. So it's almost like this drip, drip, drip of, this technology breakthroughs. And again, the quantum computing, our understanding of the DNA sequence will be a big part of the future of medicine and healthcare. But I think Alzheimer's and specifically certain types of cancers are going to have some breakthroughs in 2024. The internet, of course, for those of you that are watching, maybe you're younger than me and you've always grown up with the internet. But for those of us that were pre-internet, we know that in the late 90s when the internet started to come up, there was a lot of fears and concerns, and just like with AI, right? AI is not sentient. It doesn't think, but put in the wrong hands, humans, just like the internet, there's good stuff for the internet and there's the dark web, based on human behavior. So, but I think that the internet's going to expand, connecting more devices and creating a more interconnected world, which is good, but it's also bad because they've also said we're more connected now ever in the history of our world, but we're more disconnected. And I think that's the thing that we need to clean up, is that being disconnected. So you're going to see, the 5G networks will become more widespread, enabling faster and more reliable internet connections. I know there's a big push against 5G. And again, the 5G is part of the AI. It's part of the connectivity, where we're going as a society of being in that connected to virtual reality. I think that the popularity of plant-based alternative protein diets will continue to rise, leading a big shift to the food industry and the foods that we eat. I do think that that's going to play a big part. I have personally worked with plant medicines and plant foods, plant-based, and I've really seen a difference in my mindset, my body as well. I think you're going to see the robotics. If there's a company out of Boston called Boston Dynamics, and they have put together these robots. It looks like something literally out of a sci-fi movie, literally. And the things they can do, they can run, they can jump, they can flip. It's just like, it looks like a Terminator, and it's not a movie, it's a real thing. And Boston Dynamics, which is a private company, is making these robots that are being used by police officers and first responders, and robots. The bomb sniffing looks like a dog. It's a robot dog. Crazy. But I do think that we're going to see more of the robotics, not just in that aspect, but more in the automation of industries like manufacturing processes, building cars, building airplanes, and really just an increase in efficiency is what I see. The 2024, the year of the 8, again, is that abundance. And I think abundance is going to be created based on efficiency and connectivity, and knowing that you're entitled, instead of being divided, becoming more together. I always call it the great coming together, cleaning up misinformation, because what people don't realize is you're entitled to your opinion under free speech under the First Amendment, but you're not entitled to your facts. Facts are facts. There's one set of facts, and what we've seen over time is people, have two sides of a fact, and when really there's just, I say the sky's blue based on what I see from my visual, eyes, and other people say, oh, the sky's red. The world is round. People say that the world is flat. We know that the world is round because if we look out just at our neighborhood and in space, everything is round. It would be very uncomfortable and very curious to see just one planet that's flat when we can see the mirror reflection of who we are. Just go to the top of Mount Everest and you can see the curvature of the Earth, right? But there's that's what I'm saying is this misinformation, this disinformation, this cognitive dissonance that has been played through social media and our news cycles, to be fair, is going to get cleaned up. And I see more of coming to a moderate where people can work together because they want to work together. And that's that abundance in society that we'll see from a 2000 or from a 2024 year of the 8 in numerology. I think online education is going to become more prevalent. And I joke about that because when I first started online education, I went to, yes, I was a student of the University of Phoenix. I got my undergrad through the university when I was in the Coast Guard. So I was serving my country, going to school to finish my degree, use my GI Bill to pay off my undergrad and my graduate studies. And people would say, oh, that'll never take. This would have been back in 2004 when I finished. And, had to write my papers, had to go get graded and all that. But people are like, oh, online universities will never take. I think that online education is the future, just like telemedicine is the future of what we're doing. And I can go to Harvard now. I can go to, well, if I got in, I did do a class at Stanford. I was able to take an online class. Who would have thought little me going to Stanford online to do a writing? Right? It was called Writing in the Sciences. So I think that there's going to be more accessibility through the internet, through our connectivity, through our technology that allows people to get degrees without having to have, either whether a nepotism baby or you're part of an elite and have a lot of money and you automatically get into these schools. Somebody like myself wouldn't qualify. But now with the online education programs really continuing to enhance the digital skills training and networking and coding, I think you're going to see more of that. And just remote learning is the way of the future. Cybersecurity will remain a top priority. Like I said, I was talking about that movie, Leave the World Behind. That's based on cybersecurity, a cyber attack on the entire United States. That happens daily. For those of you that work in technology, you may know that we're being attacked daily by our nemesis from other countries. We do the same, right? We do a lot of probing and a lot of seeing what we can get away with and, see if the systems are, the firewalls are keeping things out. But you're going to see more of that. You're going to see more of that cyber. That'll be our next world war. Won't be like the two first world wars. This would be a third world war, and we'll have it eventually. Will be based on cyber. Big part of that. I think there's going to be a lot of advances in biotechnology that's going to lead to the development of new theories, new therapies, new treatments, especially for genetic diseases. I was talking to somebody who had lost a relative to MS, and my father-in-law had passed from MS, and just the embryos at that time was very controversial in the things that they were looking at for MS, and that's become part of that technology, looking at the embryos to fix the nervous system, the adrenals, right? That's how the MS attacks the nervous system. And I think with the technologies now, my father-in-law Don's been in the spirit world for almost 20 years now, but I think the technologies will help people like the disease of MS, the diseases that cerebral palsy. My niece suffers from severe cerebral palsy, and I think that there's going to be a huge push for the biotechnology fields, if you will. Again, the push for sustainability and environmental conservation will lead to increased efforts to combat climate change all around the world. I think that the use of the drones, I know last time I was in England, they had done their first delivery with a drone. A person came out with a 1 foot by 1 foot bullseye, set it down in his yard. Here comes a drone delivering his Amazon, shoots down on the technology, the AI, the connectivity, the technology. The drone's able to shoot down on the bullseye target landing, comes down, lowers the package, releases it, takes off. And it was a big thing in England. This was a couple of years ago. So it's going to come. I think that the drones delivery services, the surveillance, the aerial photography, we see this more and more in documentaries and movies. You'll continue to see that more commonplace, if you will. Social media platforms, like I said, will continue to evolve with new features and improved privacy measures. One of the things that I'm going to be starting in 2024, I'm on a platform called We Are 8. Again, the number 8, if you want to look for it, I'm on there. It's a newer platform for social media because, again, Facebook's old. It's easy right now, but, I've even been told by the younger generations that Facebook is for old people, if you will. Let's see, I got a message here. Who's messaging me? So let's see here. So one of the platforms that I'm on, it's called We Are Eight, and it's the number eight. So We Are Eight, and it's all very positive, right? We Are Eight. That's a social media platform that I'm on. A little spider almost went into my drink. I'm also going to be doing more on two apps that I'm a part of that I'll be doing more in 2024 is Clubhouse and Wisdom. So if you're familiar with those apps, join me there. And again, you can get all the information and links right here at marklainhart.com. And then I think that's it for the platforms. We Are Eight. I've been really happy with We Are Eight. So I do see that the social media with the incorporation of AI is going to be cleaned up. Again, anytime you're entitled to your opinion, but you're not entitled to your facts. So if you put out something and you're fully believing that it's a fact, you're going to probably get flagged and say that's not fact, that's misinformation. Check your sources. And of course, people are going to say, oh, you're censoring me. Well, there's censorship to a degree. You can't, I believe in the First Amendment as a constitutionalist. And just so you know, I took an oath. Here's my Constitution right here. I'm very well aware when people try to debate me about the Constitution. You're entitled under free speech, but you have also responsibilities in what you do with free speech. You can't go on a plane and say bomb. You can, but there will be consequences. You can't go into a movie theater and yell gun or bomb. You can, but there are consequences. Same thing with social media. So I see the evolution and the cleanup through AI and through the interactions of social media, because it has been transformative. The internet, social media, now we're going to have AI, robotics, quantum computing. So it's just, think of it like a step process of evolution. And there's been a lot of pain along the way too, right? Like, do I wear a mask? Do I not wear a mask? Do I get a vaccination? Do I not get a vaccination, right? That's all based on social media. And it's funny because even the news industries have moved into the social media construct. A lot of people get their news today, rather than going to the TV, they get their news from social media platforms, which is interesting. So again, Zoom has a big part. I'm on Zoom right now talking to you. So I do believe that the virtual events and conferences are going to become even more popular because you don't have to travel. It's going to be more of connecting the world and kind of that virtual reality world where you don't have to travel. It's kind of like Star Trek, and you can just go right to a class at Harvard or a class at Stanford, and then that night go to a virtual event and have cocktails right from the comfort of your own home. Now, I know that doesn't meet everybody's needs, but it is just the way that we're moving forward in our roaring 20s. The retail industry, I think that the retail industry is going to continue to see a shift from the online shopping and personalized custom experiences. That's going to continue to grow. I know that's sad for the mom and pops, brick and mortar shops. They have gone out of business since the pandemic, but just the online retail, the customization, the ease, the speed, the efficiency, it's just going to even get more cleaned up. And you're going to see more of that. I think the cultural diversity and inclusion will be prioritized, leading to more representation and equality in various fields. We have these conversations, whether it's in my day job or in my spiritual group. We're going to continue to see more of that, to where we see people as people, not based on who they love or their skin color. That will always be, and that's still part of our society. I'm not saying that. I don't want to, get away from that. That's just ignorance, right? But I think you're going to see more discussions on the inclusion as us as humans, and that'll be accepted by some, but it'll be, still fought. We see that just even in the political environment of what people still stand for, that go all the way back to the Civil War, right? Is when states started to. South Carolina was the first state to succeed based on the economy of slavery, right? Slavery had a big part to do with that, and then of course Alabama followed suit, fired shots on Fort Sumter that triggered the first Civil War. We might have something similar to that. I don't think it'll be to that degree. Maybe more of a cold Civil War. We kind of already have a cold Civil War based on, if you look at the country and the red versus blue, I guess. But I think people are going to realize that we're better together than we are apart. We're better under democracy than we are under autocracy or fascism. We've already tried that from history past, and it didn't go well, especially during World War II. I just watched a documentary series in color about Hitler and also World War II, the front lines. Over 60 million people died from World War II around the world. Think about that. That's a lot of people. And I don't think personally that we want to, continue to go down that path, if you will. So one of the quotes that I was going to talk about is from George Bernard Shaw, when he said, beware of false knowledge. It is more dangerous than ignorance. And there's going to be a lot of false knowledge and information presented through social medias. And I believe that's where the AI is going to start cleaning up. You're entitled to your opinion, but you're not entitled to your fact. And even George Bernard Shaw saw back then, beware of false knowledge. It is more dangerous than ignorance. And ignorance is bliss. I get that. But we have to work through the trying times of our technology, if you will. So I think that we're going to continue to see that diversity, inclusion conversation with different various groups. I think we're going to see advances in wearable technology. Again, the iWatch, there was a big controversy on the new iWatch being sold because of a patent, copyright, trade infringement or something. I'm not sure all the details. But I do see that the wearable technology is going to lead to innovations in healthcare monitoring and fitness tracking. I just saw where there was a football player, was a commercial. I can't remember who it was, maybe Cisco, but he was deaf, and so he couldn't. He was a quarterback for a team, and he couldn't hear the plays from what the coach was calling. So there's a visor built into the football helmet to where he could see the coach signing through the visual cortex of the helmet, and he was able to call the play. So we're going to see more of that. That's that wearable technology that I'm talking about. I know that the new iWatch had something to do where you can put your fingers on it and hold, and it can track your monitor, your heart system. The wearable technology too, I think, is going to be nanotechnology, where we'll actually have technology that's very, very, very small that can be dropped into our bloodstream. It can monitor. So, hey, Mark, you're about to have a heart attack. Get your ass to the hospital. That's a technology that I see that we're going, and that's what I mean by the advances in wearable technology. We talked about it at the college about the brain sync, to where Elon Musk is working on where you can have, I think it's called brain sync or brain loop or something. But it's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of the Borg from Star Trek, right? We're starting to integrate the technology into us to where you could listen to music without having earphones hit the ear, without earpods hit the eardrum. You could actually hear it in your brain. And I think we're going to see more of that technology, and that's what I mean by wearable technology, if you will. So we're here at Metaphysical Mocha Monday, or shit, I just totally did it. I've been doing Metaphysical Mocha Mondays for so long. We're at Metaphysical Meetup with Marc here on Fridays. We're talking about forecasting, predictions, planning for 2024, the year of the 8. And I'm just giving a list of some of the stuff that I've been writing down through my meditations, through my dreams, through my visions. Will it all come to fruition? No, nothing is ever 100% certain. But these are just markers that I see from an intuitive standpoint, from a psychic standpoint, things that have come to me that we can pay attention to. And again, we have your focus determines your reality, but these are just some of the things that I see manifesting in the year of the abundance, the year of the 8. And I think that wearable technology is also going to, technology is going to help us to understand and unlock things like frequency and vibration and energy to fourth dimensional construct. Things that we don't necessarily see will start to reveal themselves to us. Think of the microscope, think of the telescope, how transformative those have been. Our technology tools, which I say technology is the new religion of our time, to be honest with you, no offense to the other top 10 religions out there, but that is true, because who has one of these in their hand and carries around with them, almost 24/7. So that will be that wearable technology that I see coming. Again, the adoption of cryptocurrencies and digital platforms will increase, transforming the way we connect financial transactions, which can be a good thing, but can also be a scary thing based on securities behind it, based on accuracy of it. We don't want to collapse the global. And I know some people talk about that, the fear and doom and gloom of the collapse of the financial system. I don't personally see that. I think that there can be some ebbs and flows, maybe a possible recession, but I don't see a collapse like the Great Depression of '29. So I don't see that. I think housing prices and rates will start to come down because we had to react and readjust to a global economy that shut down. We haven't had to do that before, and so there are things that happen when that takes place. So I think that we're going to see, again, cryptocurrency really take more of a foothold in how we do our digital currency. I think that there's going to be the architecture of things, how we build things are going to be more sustainable, green practices. It's going to become the norm in urban development, if you will, building structures that are earthquake. So, being in alignment and understand that Mother Earth can change her mind anytime she wants. She is the landlord and we are the tenants, and she can evict, and having architecture and building codes and construction that would be sustainable, green, but also because a lot of times when you see earthquakes in other parts of the world, a lot of people are killed because of the lack of infrastructure, the architecture. These, sometimes these buildings are old and they're built with heavy bricks and mortar. The earth shakes and they all coming down. So a lot of deaths happen not from just the earthquake, but from the architecture and infrastructure collapsing upon them. And I think we're going to see a shift in that globally, not just in the United States, but globally. And so sustainable architecture and green building and safer building. Advances in 3D printing technology will lead to both widespread, and as far as that architecture that I'm talking about, that 3D printing is going to be used for space exploration. It's going to be used in modern construction, and it's going to be used in healthcare to make things. The 3D printer is fascinating because it is a reality, and it is being used, and there's big 3D printers and there's small 3D printers. It reminds me of Star Trek. Gene Roddenberry, who was a seer, who wrote about a lot of stuff. So this 3D printing is one step closer to, computer, make me and then it spits it out, right?
Good morning, Jenny. I'm having trouble with that right now.
Alexa wants to talk. So I think here's a big one. The rise of remote work will continue, with more companies offering flexible work arrangements and digital nomad lifestyles becoming more popular. So people wanting to travel, flexibility, hybrid online working. Now, I know that Amazon just announced here in Seattle, because we have the headquarters of Amazon here in Seattle. They said if you want to be promoted, you have to come back into the office. So in order to be considered for promotion, they're dangling that carrot out there, that in order to be promoted, you have to be in the office. Some people will take that and be like, hey, great promotion. Other people like, no, I want this ability to work from home, this nomad, lifestyle, or move into a different state, if you will. That is part of transformation. That is part of change that we're going to continue to see. Again, the rise of remote work. Mental health awareness, that's a big one. The support will become more prominent. It's going to be leading to more increased resources, more counselors. I think that's a new industry that's going to definitely be eye-opening. It's going to be talked about more and encouraged more. Mental health is a big part. We didn't talk about it in the 70s, and I'm just amazed and happy to see like athletes and actors taking, hey, need a timeout mental health wise. And sometimes we need to do that. So again, I think the rise of social entrepreneurship and conscious consumerism is going to continue to drive business to prioritize both social and environmental impacts. So we're going to see a big push on that. Big push for gender equality and women's rights. It's going to lead to increased representation and opportunities for women in many industries. So again, what's the old proverb? When sleeping woman wakes, watch out, or something like that. So that's going to continue to happen. And I think that we're going to see collaborations between nations, and organizations are going to be crucial in addressing global challenges, global change, global pandemics, climate change, social equality. And those are just some of the things that I've seen for the year of the 8, things that we are moving into. So let me get back to the Facebook page. So that was my list. There was about 30 bullet points that I had come up with to talk about the year of the 8 and to talk about the things that are coming. So let's get over to the Intuitive Prospector page. Again, if you want to learn more about who I am, what I do, why I do, what's coming up in 24, go to marclainhart.com. Happy to do some prospecting with you. Let me get back over to the page so I can give some shout outs to y'all. Thank you to my team. Thank you to my wonderful team that are monitoring the comments, my administrators, my moderators for this community page, to keep it clean, to keep it positive, to keep it enlightened, to keep it healing, to keep it, to keep it going. So let's get into the page here. All right, so let me just get up to some of the comments. So ready for abundance. Good morning, my mom. The eclipse in 2024 is a big deal here. Yep. Okay. Yep. Susan Ruppert is my mama. Okay. All right. So perfect. So thanks for sharing out. Thanks for being here. Again, we're just talking about, the show's construct is community, empowerment, encouragement, healing, inspiration, meditation, messages, and transformations. So with that, let me get into maybe a few questions. So again, if you're a subscriber, star sender, Patreon prospector, I usually will come to you if you have a question for me. So go ahead and ask a question. If you want a reading, go ahead and do that. And then everybody just take a nice deep So one of the reasons I got the tattoo that I get, because I can say, now everybody take a nice deep. This stands for breath, Sanskrit, one of the oldest symbols out there. And if you think about the power of breath, the transformation, the healing, what's the first thing we do when we incarnate into the physical form? We come out. We're born. We're birthed, right? We take that breath in. Many of us do. Some of us don't. Some of us don't make it all the way to take that first breath, right? And when we leave this shell, this body, what's the last thing that we do? We exhale. So it's very important to breathe, breathe, breathe. All right. So it looks like I'm caught up on the comments. I do apologize if I missed your comment. Sometimes that's not controlled by me. That's based on the algorithms of Facebook, unfortunately. But there's about 28 comments. So let me just see. Millie, hello to you. And I'll have the stars thing cleaned up by next week. Again, I apologize. I didn't know that that was a thing. All right. So I think I've caught up to all the questions. We've got about 8 of you. We had 8 of you, so that's a fantastic number because we're talking about 2024. If you have a question, go ahead and ask. Let me get over to the Facebook page here. And if you want to come in and have a chat, let me get the link here. Invite, copy invitation. And again, how we do Metaphysical Meetup is I'm working with subscribers, followers of the page, Patreon prospectors. You'll have a badge next to your name, so then I know that you're following the journey, and I can get you that link and have you come in and we can chat. For my Patreon prospectors, I will be having a New Year event. So let me get that pasted in. I'd rather you, well, I'm just going to take the number out because I'd rather you come in on video because I like to see people. I like to communicate with people. So look for the little avatar with me holding a heart. Passcode is still 2023. Again, I'll have to update that as well for the Zoom room to be 2024. So just I have to put that down on my list. But that Zoom link is in there if you want to come in and just have a chat. Denise, one of my top followers, let me know if you're still on too. So Cara, Denise, you're still wanting a card. I just want to make sure that you're all still on. So if you could let me know that you're still on and you meet the qualifications with the badge, or you're a follower, or a Patreon prospector, then I will know. Let's see here, new comment. You can follow me over on Meetup as well, or my YouTube library. Trying to get to 500 followers. So I'm a little unclear about what this group is. Also, there's a competing from Denver at the same time as yours, FYI. Okay, what that means. Somebody had just wrote that on my Meetup. Don't know what that means, sorry. So there's only one Metaphysical Meetup with Mark, and that's on Fridays at 10 a.m. So, all right, so the Zoom room is now open. Again, if you're coming in, I'm looking for your badge, your subscriber, your follower, and then I'll get to you. All right. So Denise, you still on? Denise Sanchez, I'm here. Okay. Hi, Denise. Let's get you a card, my friend. Let's go to one of my new decks, actually. Let me go back over so I can see the Zoom. Bear with me. All right. So this is a new deck that I brought from England. This was actually, it's called the Flower Sentience cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pick a card. So this is for Denise, one of my top fans, one of my followers. Just going to shuffle these cards, and then I'll read the message. And let me know if the flower has any meaning for you, or if it connects to a loved one. A lot of times it can connect to a loved one in the spirit world. So we're going to do this card right here. So this is your card, and I'll read what it is here for you. And again, I'm going ahead and going to do just a few readings. So if you're a follower, subscriber, what this card represents is, this is the lily. So Denise, does the lily have any meaning for you? The number is 2 and 7. So the number 2 and 7 from a numerology standpoint represent the number 9. 2 plus 7 equals 9, right? 7, 8, 9. The 2 represents being at the peace of what is. The 7 represents truth, receiving truth, knowing truth, hearing truth, finding truth. And through those two numbers, the construct of 9 means completion. So like next year will be the year of 2025, will be the year of the 9, will be completion, and then every thing starts back over at 1. So the card, what the card says here, let me maximize. It says the lily is the Chinese emblem for mothers and for mother's love, purity, and innocence. Now, Denise, you can refresh my memory. I don't know if mom is in the spirit world. I'm not doing mediumship right now, but it'd be interesting if this was a card representation of your mom. This card brings the beautiful, nurturing energy to you, which you may need right now. Remember, the earth is your mother, so draw strength from nature, get close to earth and possibly to water. Feel the stillness of life, as well as the breath of the wind and the tears of the rain. All these symbolize the mothering love. The flower is majestic and magnificent. Feel those qualities in your life now. So actually, Denise, reach out and touch that lily. Feel that card. Feel that connection. And again, the lilies is Chinese emblem for mothers and for a mother's love, purity, and innocence. Okay, so that is for Denise Sanchez. Suarez. Does that make sense, Denise? Go ahead and put a comment in if you can. All right. So Malia's on. Christina, let me get to you in a sec. Hi, Kimberly. I'll get to you in a sec. Amy, get that badge, Amy. All right. So let me get to Kara next. A card for the new year. So I'm going to stay with the new deck that I have. Again, this is called the Flower Sentience, and it's just using different flowers to trigger. So that one for Denise was the lily, based off Mother's Essence. So that's kind of interesting. So I'm just going to take a nice deep breath. And the card I have for you this morning, this is for Cara Fordham. This is the Buttercup. I always think of Buttercup from Princess Bride. But what the numbers represent is 1 and 6. So 1 represents independence. 6 means compassionate for self, for others. And then the 1 plus 6 adds up to 7, which is all, again, about truth, knowing truth, finding truth, seeking truth. But it says this, the Buttercup, the message of the Buttercup comes with the passion and expansive qualities that its spirit delivers, restoring the inner child with the blessing of sweetness. So this card, this Buttercup, is about that inner child, that innocence, returning back to your foundation, returning back to your roots. It delivers a healing energy to the body, mind, and spirit, and it also brings a calm acceptance of issues which may have recently seemed troubling to you for the Buttercup. Additional qualities are humility, neatness, and a sense of childness. Enjoy the sunshine color of the flower. Buttercup, my little Buttercup. All right, Buttercup, Buttercup. Does that make sense, Cara? All right. That is your card for the new year. So anything to do with Buttercup. Could be the flower, could be Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, anything to do with Buttercup. All right. So let's see here. All right. Christina is here. So we're going to continue with the flowers for Christina, one of my Patreon prospectors, and then Kimberly Ann, one of my subscribers who finally made it. So, but to be fair, Kimberly Ann, I haven't been on the last few weeks because I took the month of December off and then I was traveling. So this is for Christina Lynn. And again, it doesn't just say just a card, right? Yes. Okay. You're welcome, Cara. You're welcome, Denise. This is beautiful. Just what I need. Yeah, it usually is what you need. All right. So Christina, are you on still, my friend? Christina Lynn. The card I have for you is this. The beautiful card. It's called the Lupin or Lupin, and the numbers represent 1 and 7. So again, the 1 represents the independent journey, the beginnings of something new. The 7 represents the truth, finding truth, knowing truth, seeking truth, hearing truth. 1 plus 7, just so you can see it, 1 plus 7 equals 8. So reach out and touch that card. 8 is all about abundance. But what it says this, the family of Lupins are symbolic of imagination and the importance it has on our lives. Imagination shows us potential, and without it, life would be dull and stagnant. Instead, it can be full of happiness, joy, and merriment. This flower also brings the inner strength to recover from trauma. So reach out and touch this card. Reach out and touch this card. The word lupinus means of wolves, quote unquote, of wolves, and the wolf is the totem of the teacher. What do you teach to the world and the people in your life? So again, this is about imagination. It's about inner strength, recovering from trauma. And I know the work you do, Christina Lynn, she does beautiful work. Check her out if you like. She's made some necklaces for me over the past, and she does really, again, imagination, taking that imagination and bringing stuff into my reality. So make sure to check her out. So that's the card. So again, we're working with the new flower deck that I have. Hopefully these are all representing and making sense to you in your own way. If they don't, that's just part of the path, I guess. All right, Kimberly Ann says, to be fair, I've been sleeping late. Yeah, 'tis the season. Happy holidays. So Kimberly Ann, I'm happy to finally get a card for you. Happily to finally sync up with you. And you're not sleeping in today. And the card I have for you this morning, my friend, is this beautiful card, and it's the 7 card. It is called the honeysuckle. And the 7 represents truth. Again, 7 is coming up a lot right now. But go ahead and just reach out and touch that card. Feel the energy of the honeysuckle. And it's a plant which urges you to stay true to your path in life and follow your intuitive and inner guidance. If so, you should find life's happiness, sweetness, and generosity. It represents bonds of love, and staying devoted to those you love and those who care about you. Allow your affection, not affliction, your affection to be seen. During history, this bloom was thought to bring protection and prosperity to your home. Victorian suitors gave honeysuckle flowers as a promise of true and underlying love to their ladies. So honeysuckle, honeysuckle, honeysuckle. Kind of cool cards, yeah? Something different, something new. All right, you're welcome, Christina Lynn. The card makes sense. Okay, Kimberly, does that make sense? All right, so let's see. There was one other person that wanted a reading. Amy Mann. Again, make sure to get on my Patreon prospectors list, marklainhart.com, the link, or subscribe to Facebook, $4.99 a month, just to be an Intuitive Prospector subscriber. Because I'm going to be growing those in 2024 as I shift from my federal career of 23 years is probably coming to an end as I either retire or medically retire. And so I'll be doing this more. So I'm going to need to grow my subscription services so I can survive in this world and continue to promote positive living, inspired living, the books and the work that I'm doing, the healing, the experience, the etheric is going to be coming back, sitting in the power, Soundbaths, all sorts of different things that I'm going to be working on. So if you want a card, go ahead and just type it in the comments section. And Amy Mann, the card that I have for you, my friend, is this. The Zoom link is you want to come in the Zoom room and have a chat and get a live reading with me. You can do that as well. So the card I picked for you is called the Bachelor's Button. The Bachelor's Button. So reach out and touch the card, Bachelor's Button. The numbers on it are a 3 and an 8. So the 3 represents creative, self-expressive type of energy, that creative, kind of the 3 that's in my tattoo here. Kind of looks like an up, down, side 3. This is part of the Sanskrit, right? The 3, the power of 3. 3 is very creative, and it's an expressive type of thing. The 8, again, is about abundance. 8, 9, 10, 11 is, the 11 is either a master number, which can be a spiritual teaching moment for you. But it says this: the flower is a very special variety of corn flower and is a huge symbol of social liberalism in Europe. It is associated with the armistice of the November 11th, 1918, after World War I, and so became a symbol for veterans of that conflict. It therefore brings memories of loved ones whose lives were lost during conflict. So if you lost a loved one, and again, this is for Amy Mann, if you've lost a loved one from some sort of conflict, like, for me, my brother was murdered, so I would call that a conflict. I don't know of my ancestors. I know my ancestors served in the war, but I don't know of anybody that was killed or gave their life during the war. So I can't say that type of conflict. But one of the most important qualities that it symbolizes always having your daily bread, always having your daily bread, indicating prosperity, good fortune, wealth, and strong supportive friendships. The cornflower also associates itself with delicacy and refinement, old-fashioned qualities, but sometimes still needed for situations in life. This is called the Bachelor's Button, the Bachelor's Button, the Bachelor's Button. So pretty cool. I didn't know that. This is a new deck that I got when I was in England. at the Arthur Findlay College, and I was like, flower sentience. And it's just interesting how you can tell a whole story or get a lot of information just from a flower. So hopefully those cards pulled for you have some resonance and connect some way to you somehow. All right. Kimberly Ann says, wow, thank you. You're welcome. Amy Man says, yes, I lost my husband in March, sister in April, parents last year on a path of new. Wow, Amy, that's a lot of loss. That's a lot of grief. So make sure to honor your grief, and we'll hold space for you. That's a lot of loss in a short period of time. You didn't lose them, though. They're still around you. You've just lost the physical aspects. If you start to look in the signs, the symbols, the synergy, the synchronicistics, the things that I teach on, pay attention to the pattern, this new communication that will develop through grief and loss and trauma. It's quite what's the word I'm trying to say for you? It's quite comforting to know that our loved ones do move on, that love and energy and mannerisms and memories do move forward to the other side. And it's not lost. It's never goodbye. It's just until I see you again, and I'll see you down the road, because we're all heading that direction. So ask for sign, symbols, synergy, and the synchronistic events. Again, Einstein always said synchronicities and coincidences are God's way of remaining anonymous. Whoever or whatever God is for you, I don't try to tell people that, because I personally don't know, but I do know that there is something on the other side of what we call the physical life and what we call death and transformation. So what the caterpillar called the end of the world, the butterfly calls a whole new beautiful world, right? So, but my condolences on their transition and their passing, but they're only ever a thought away. Just ask, believe, receive, perceive through the power of breath, and they will start to make themselves known to you. Little things, little trigger things that'll trigger in your mind. It's quite fascinating, because how do you talk to somebody that doesn't have a vocal cord, right? They find new ways to communicate without the vocal cord. Not a big booming voice from the sky. And if it is, I always tell people, if you get this big booming voice from the sky that we've learned in, religious scriptures, I want to hear about it, because that is yet to happen. And I would love to hear that story if that is the case. So you're very welcome, Amy. So again, our condolences, and just holding space for you during these holiday seasons, and just the amount of loss. Grief is a real thing. And so I always remind people, honor your grief. Because if you don't, you're going to pay a price, like I did for many, many years. So good morning to Mom. My mom is watching in Spokane. Okay. So yes, I see signs all the time. I can physically feel my husband's energy on the left side. Yeah. So for you, he comes to your left side. So pay attention to that. We call that clairsentience. That's the ability to feel through the skin, which is the largest organ on the body, right? Clairvoyance is the ability to see. So you may actually see an image of him and then feel him come to your left. And everybody is different. But you figure out how you work. You're the equipment, as I like to say. All right. Sorry, I've been talking for a while. So, okay. So I think I'm caught up on comments. Hi, Trudy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Zoom link is out there. This is your last chance to have a reading with me live for 2023. I'm not doing any more work until next week when I'm back. And I will be back. We'll be doing Metaphysical Meetup with Marc on Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Check your local listings of where you're at in the world, because we do have a global audience of people that tune in on Fridays. I will be more consistent because I take December off. I shut down everything, no readings, no podcasts. The podcast shows have been encores, thanks to my team member Colleen, she got to pick her favorite 2 shows from this last season and encore those. But we are back with new guests starting January 10th. We'll be back for the first show, our 8th season. Again, the number 8 is very prevalent. It's my year in numerology, the year of the 8. It's also our 8th season of Inspired Living. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue with Positive Living. I'm still in negotiations with that. Positive Living is an app that you can open up through your Alexa app or your Echo Pod. You just say, Alexa, open up Positive Living, and you get I've done recordings over the last few years, and you can get positive daily affirmations. But I'm not sure. I'm just still trying to figure that out for a budgeting standpoint, as my finances are changing a bit here, and where I'm going moving forward. But I'll let you know. But you can still say Positive Living and still get those recordings. You can also we're streaming through Audible for Inspired Living. We're on all major podcasting platforms. You can just say through Alexa now, Alexa, open up Inspired Living podcast, and that'll play the latest episode that we did. We're featured in FeedSpot as a top inspirational podcast to listen to, Inspired Living, which puts us on the list of some very inspirational people, whether you support them or not. Oprah, Michelle Obama, Steve Harvey, Brene Brown. They're in the upper echelons. We're more down in the 40s, but just to be on that same list is very humbling, and very thankful and grateful to be considered as that inspiration, which we're going to be doing more of. The year of the 8 for me is going to be focused on a lot more healing aspects. So meditations through Insight Timer or Learn It Live. These live shows, my YouTube channel, my spiritual takeout through YouTube. So there'll be more coming. So if you want to participate, if you want to visit my development group, which is done via live on Wednesdays via Zoom, you can go to my website, marklainhart.com, and click on the big blue diamond. That'll generate an email to my team to get a visitor's pass if you're interested. If not, no worries. We like to keep our groups small and private. It's not open to the public. And I'm going to be writing my next, working on my next book. So I hope to bring a lot more into 2024 and manifest the abundance of living life. Life is the magic. Having a life, regardless of where you're at, whether you're in good health or bad health, or you're crippled or you can walk, you're suffering from mental health, you're suffering from fatigue. Just being alive is a gift, because that's not something guaranteed to everybody. And it's just a reminder to be in the present moment, to carpe diem, to seize the day. Because I want to give a shout out to our friends, Kieran Levi, who had taken their fur baby to the vet because he was sick and he never came home. Right. So the loss that they're feeling with, if you've had a fur baby and you've lost a fur baby, or a child, because I believe that animals can be your children as well, to not come home. Again, you just never know what the day is going to bring. That's exactly what I'm saying. So we're holding space and just give them a big loving shout out and hug, because again, it's just traumatic to, take your fur baby in and not come home with him. I've been there. I've done that. It sucks. And that can be the same with life. You could walk out the door and you don't know what the day is going to bring. So carpe diem, seize the day. I think I've caught up to all the comments. Unless there's any more questions, again, thank you to my team for being here and moderating the comments, keeping the community clean and without trolls and clickbaits. Again, if you do that kind of stuff, that spam, you're going to be automatically booted out of the community page. Any profiles you create are blocked and you're reported to Facebook. So just best advice is just don't do it. Just participate. Show up with a good heart. Show up with a open mind, and have that metaphysical meetup with me on Fridays, and let's have fun and celebrate the life, if you will. So again, Zoom link is out there. I'm not seeing any more comments streaming through. If I'm missing your comment, I do apologize. That is not in my control. That is Facebook. But I think I got to most of you, and I hope you like the new cards, the flower sentience. Just a mix of different cards that I use. I have I usually have about 14 decks, because believe it or not, that's what fits in my little basket here. So you can see all the different cards, and we can always pick and choose different ones. So I retired. I moved some of the older decks over and put in the 2 new decks, which is this flower sentience deck, and then this cool kind of honeycomb deck that I got when I was in Palm Springs, and a lady did a reading for me. So, all right. So I don't have anybody in the waiting room. So thank you to everybody for coming in. I'll pick one last card for your message for 2024. I'll see you next year, and much happiness and health and blessings to all of you. And I hope that you'll join me back for the Intuitive Prospector. And the card that came up this time is Trust the Process. This is a card that I need to also trust. It's one of the pillars I teach on, actually, in my development group, and the path of intuition and spiritualism. Trust, patience, dedication, discipline will help you to heal, and it will also help with your transformation. So, alrighties. Amy says flowers can enter the Zoom room. What's that mean, Amy? Thank you, Mark, for your time, wisdom, energy, and share with us. Much appreciated, friend. You're welcome, Denise. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. Amy, what did you mean? Followers can enter the Zoom room? Yeah, followers. So I'm looking for badge. So you're either a subscriber to the Intuitive Prospector subscribers page. Again, you can go to marklainhart.com, or just go to my Intuitive Prospector, go to the top, and it'll say subscribers. That is $4.99 a month. It's nothing. It's literally, you'll spend more for a cup of coffee at Starbucks That's for the entire month. And that gives that lets me know that people are following the work. They're interacting with me, because a lot of times when I used to do this, I get a lot of people that just would come in just to get a free reading. And I think it should be a mutual respect of energy and time, because time is my greatest commodity. And what's $4.99? Or you can go over to my Patreon prospectors page right here under subscribe at marklainhart.com, and you can pick a category which is gem based, based on your interactions of, do you want a monthly reading? Do you want Q&A? Do you want shout outs? Do you want a swag bag? That kind of stuff. But if you have a badge, Amy, and you're a follower or subscriber or star sender, then yeah, you can come into the Zoom room. So, and in the Zoom room, it's literally like a box of chocolates, spiritual box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. It could be mediumship, if we're setting the intention to talk with a loved one, which means that they have crossed over into death, not angels, not ascended masters, not spirit guides, because those are subjective to you. This literally means, asking the spirit person for evidence or information or memories or a story from the other side to share with you. That's what mediumship really is. And not to be done for entertainment purposes. Really, I find mediumship to be very healing, very enlightening, very open-minded, to be like, wow, how would this guy in Seattle know about my loved one that, loved to go fishing, or loved to hang out at the cabin, or, loved his dog. It really, do I ever get everything right? No, but it's the attempt to try to connect to that communication of speaking with people that don't have vocal cords anymore, but communicate to the clairvoyance, the clairsentience, the claircognizance, if you will. And it helps. It helps me. It helps you. It helps the spirit person. I know I did a couple readings for COVID. They didn't get a chance to say goodbye through COVID. So they came back to say their goodbyes and say their hellos too, right? It's never goodbye. It's always hello until I see you again. But yeah, so if that answers your question, Amy, yeah, that's what the Zoom room link is specifically for, is to connect with my subscribers and my followers of my page. It's just a way of giving back and, helping people out. That's what I do. So, all right, my friend, thank you guys for hanging out. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Happy Friday to you. I'll be back next Friday for the first show of 2024, the year of the 8. Gave you some insight and predictions and forecasting and planning to what I see coming, which is going to be to me, is going to be a very amazing year of abundance and transformation and healing. I think we're going to see a big swing compared to the last 4 or 5 years that we've gone through. And again, we're going to still see some things that are pretty, horrible to see and traumatic and, just human behavior, unfortunately. But I don't know, I think we're going to see some things we haven't seen before in this year, because it's going to manifest, right? 8 is manifesting. That's abundance and manifesting and bringing things into our known reality, right? And that's how reality shifts. So it's going to be an interesting year, and it'll go by quick. Like 2023 went by quick, right? Time is the great illusion, and time, science shows that time has been speeding up, so it's getting faster and faster, which means that's also an evolution of the human consciousness, the human vibration, because eventually when you speed up, you go so fast, you vibrate so fast, I would actually disappear if my vibration sped up. So everything is vibration and frequency and energy. And as Nikola Tesla reminds us, if you want to unlock those secrets of the universe, you have to start thinking in terms of fourth dimensional construct, energy, frequency, vibration. No different than the iPhone, right? When he talked about the iPhone, a black box back in 1865, people thought he was a witch and a warlock, and said that he was crazy. I don't know. This kind of looks like a black box to me, like the monolith out of Stephen Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey, the black monolith, right? And you touch the black monolith, and you automatically create wisdom and knowledge, and you can communicate with people all around the world. So imagine what the next 10, 20, 30 years are going to look like as we go through this renaissance of wisdom and knowledge and technology advancement, learning more in the next 30 years than we will the next 300 years. So that's pretty transformative, if you will. So happy New Year to you. Thanks for hanging out. I'll be back. We'll be back on the air for Inspired Living on January 10th. I don't know what the show is going to be yet. I don't know if I have a guest or if I'm doing it, but I will find out and I'll let you know. Follow me over on social media. Best way to get to the links is just go to marklainhart.com, scroll to the bottom, you'll see me. You can follow me on TikTok. I'm having a lot of fun on TikTok doing completely fun, zany videos. So if you want something outside of spiritualism, more fun, laughter, positive, inspired living. Follow me over on TikTok. Get on my YouTube channel. Everything is at marklainhart.com. So I hope to connect with you soon. And Happy New Year. Many blessings, good health. Your loved ones, if you've lost this year, just know they're only ever a thought away. Ask, believe, receive, perceive. And let's get a fun song. What's a fun song to take us out? Oh, let's see here, because I got to play music that is not copyrighted, right? So any music that you get through my shows are always Facebook approved, copyright free, trademark free. Otherwise, it gets muted. So I always have to be mindful. I wish I had a song for 2024 ringing in the new year, but I'm looking here. The Waltz of Flowers, March, Catch Me If You Can. Okay. So I think what we'll do, since I was working with flower cards, we're going to do the Waltz of the Flowers as we move into 2024. And I will see you next time. And as I always like to close out my my podcast or my show, until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate. And most importantly, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and discover that diamond within. I'll see you next time here on Metaphysical Meetup with Mark, or on my other channels in 2024. Take care, everybody. Namaste.
One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marklainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.